Yeah, I know the smoke, sweetheart.
Goodbye to Hondarribia and onwards. We were following Five Gone Sailing and heading for Bilbao.
We're having an exciting time. The wind was supposed to be coming very light from behind us all day today. However, excitingly this morning, the sea breeze or land breeze, you tell me. Basically what we have is a differential in temperature between the sea and the land. The sea stays stable virtually all through the day, night and day. The land heats up during the day, cools down during the night, and that differential creates uneven pressure which makes air move back and forth between the land and the sea. So yeah, we're about 2 hours after dawn and suddenly this sea, big strong breeze, maybe a force 4 or 5, coming off the land, and just suddenly kicked in, which we weren't expecting, and we spent the last hour now doing over 7 knots, and it's brilliant. So I thought we were going to be motoring all day, which is great. So we had a nice time. We've got Kipchoge running at a world record pace on the Berlin half marathon in my year, and we're catching up with Five Gone Sailing, which is ironic. Wait, should they hide this? If they've gone?
No, they should be in front.
Oh, so they've left already?
Yeah,
okay, they have gone. Okay, that makes sense. But it's interesting because this extra wind we're getting off the land is noticeably kicking in when we go past the valley. It's very, very hilly land next to us, which I think is what's contributing the winds coming off it. And as we go past big land masses, the hills, it definitely drops. And as we go past the valley again, it opens up to the point a minute ago where we were, oh, we've got too much sail out, you know, it was, and now we're dead back down again. So it's interesting. I'm enjoying the challenge of it compared to sitting on motor, which I thought we were going to be doing.
And then behind the hill, it all went still. So we had to motor. Well, that was the plan until... we were going along quite nicely and the engine has just cut out. You've got no diesel?
I can't see any little bit of torch.
It really was a complete mystery, as we'd checked the fuel tanks recently and there'd been plenty of fuel. Just phoned our buddy boat, Five Gone Sailing, and they're on standby in case we need any assistance. We're currently just bobbing around. It was nice to hear that the Danes have grasped the English enough to go, holy shit, when I told him our engine had cut out. You think we're out of diesel, is that what you think?
Yeah, well, the tank looked empty. But I genuinely didn't think we were, because I checked recently to know what's going on. The bilge is fairly full, but I assumed the other day that was from the water tank overflowing. That's not me. That's the worst case scenario, there's 100 quid of diesel down there. More than that.
Meanwhile, Five Gone Sailing were doing some research for us and trying to find out where we could go to get diesel.
I checked that the easiest, if you don't have diesel and you don't have engine, the easiest would probably be to go to Motrico, because the entrance is rather simple. Whereas Liquito, that is a bit more gnarly, or not gnarly, but it's more, yeah.
I called the marina at Motrico, I think that's how you say it, and then realised we'd got another problem. Our lack of Spanish. Hello, do you speak English? No, I don't speak English.
Okay, one moment.
One moment.
Maybe they'll call you back.
I'll call you back.
Write an email.
I really wish I could speak Spanish. Luckily, I knew someone who did. Just messaging my friend Miriam, who speaks Spanish, because we phoned up the marina and he didn't speak any English. So fortunately, we have people who can help us. Thank you so much, Miriam, you're a lifesaver. The guy said, yeah, no problem, he'll be looking out for us. He's going on his lunch from 2 till 3. He's going from 2 till 3 on lunch, yeah.
So that's not even that bad. I thought you'd be like, I have a way though for my test now between midday and 5. This is my second diesel filter change at sea in 2 passages. Anyway, we'll fill up the new filter with fresh diesel. In the very least, we should have the range of one of those full.
Whilst Hugh did all he could, we slowly sailed on towards the marina. So, we can't get the engine started. We have a small amount of sail up. We're going very slowly towards the entrance where there is a fuel berth, and we're hoping that that's going to solve our problem. In the meanwhile, Yeah, we've got to navigate this under sail. We phoned up the harbour master. Well, I didn't. I have a friend in England who speaks Spanish. Thank you very much, Miriam. She has been phoning them. But of course, this is Spain and he's on his lunch break now. So we're just arriving and she tried to phone him again, but he's not answering. So hopefully he won't have an extended lunch break. But this is Spain, so he probably will. Hugh's got the anchor ready just in case. That's going to be our backup plan. And we've got these sails we can take down, but just got to do what you can do, haven't you? We quickly learnt what "the engine won't start" is in Spanish, "el motor no arranca," and tried to radio in, but the man was still on his lunch break. We've taken the decision to anchor here until we can work out what to do, as we weren't comfortable sailing in through the harbour wall. And then our saviours arrived. A small fishing boat came to give us a tow. Unfortunately, we had just dropped 50 metres of chain, and because we didn't have an engine, Hugh had to pull it all up by hand. "30 minutes later, we were being towed into the harbour. There were a group of people dockside who grabbed our lines and stopped us. We were very thankful. After all the excitement, we decided to leave the boat and go for a wander and deal with all the engine problems in the morning. This place was great. There was a sea swimming pool, a small beach, a lovely town, an ice cream place, loads of nice shops. But this is all the footage I have, as in all the excitement, I just wanted to enjoy the moment.
That's good. Right, gather round. I will tell you a story of woe and intrigue. So, this is what's happened. Oh, good. I'm relieved actually, mainly because we haven't polluted the environment and we haven't got 200 quid's worth of diesel that's just disappeared. So, right, we have two separate diesel tanks, one on each side. We have both feed. They've got a valve at the bottom. You can feed off both tanks, and that goes up to a primary filter for each tank, and from there there's a three-way valve, so both filters go into a T section, and then from there I can adjust whether both are turned on or whether just port or just starboard, and then they feed into the main filter, which then goes into the engine. It was on passage from France to Hondarribia, got there. This tank was empty and we got a slight whining off the engine, which tells me we're running out of fuel. Ran down here quickly, opened the valves and secured the feed from the starboard tank and shut off the port tank, and within another 10 seconds of engine running time everything was fine and there was a good steady diesel flow again. Anyway, at that point, and I do know about before that passage as well, I did before that passage I checked the level in that tank. So all I've got is the filler cap on top of the tanks themselves, and I can unscrew it and I have a little torch and I can have a look and I can either see the bottom of the tank or I can't. Anyway, that tank was full. This one, after we did that changeover I inspected, this one was empty. So the big mystery was how do we use up diesel so much, and the only thought I had was that the valves slowly drip and that basically we'd be using up both tanks not once. But I went to sleep last night and I thought to myself, no, I remember vividly checking that tank and it was full. Anyway, as I just told you a moment ago, in my head that tank was full, this tank was empty. Also, we went for a walk yesterday, and Kelly has to get a photo of this in a moment. Esperance is sitting loads over to port, loads more than usual, which basically in my head rings alarm bells. I know we've got a full tank of water, but it's more than that. It's to the extent that actually the amount we've shifted over could be that there's maybe a few 100 more kilograms on this side and none at all on that side. That's how far over we are. And this morning I just thought I'd back up that evidence, and I've had a look at this tank, and magically the port tank is full again. It's actually full. So a week ago I checked and starboard was full and port was empty, and we ran off starboard. Yesterday we were out cruising and starboard was magically empty. This morning I've double checked after all my worry and head scratching, and the port tank is full. So the only thing that could possibly be is what you have on a diesel tank. Again, I'm not an expert on engines and diesels, but the diesel gets drawn out, it gets pulled through the engine, it gets burnt. Any excess diesel
gets put onto the return, and the return goes up to a tube and then feeds back into the top of the tanks for the oil, for the diesel to go around again. And that's basically anything that wasn't burnt, anything that wasn't used, right? And all I can think is that's what's happened. And basically we were drawing out of one tank, and then the return was going, and because the boat sits very slightly over, or whatever, we've had quite a lot of rolling since then as well, for some rocky nights in Anchorage, whatever it is. I need to work out, maybe someone watching this might tell me a bit more about that feed return process. But in the 10 hours of motoring we did since this changeover, that means 10 hours of motoring would have been perhaps somewhere between 50 and 60 litres of usage, right? But 5 times that volume has shifted from one tank to the other over the course of that period. We've got it. The good thing is we've still got over 200 quid worth, 300 quid worth of diesel, which we haven't lobbed in the ocean, and it hasn't mysteriously disappeared, which is good news, because I was sitting there going, have I done my maths wrong on the engine hours to the amount of fuel we've used? So it makes sense now. I'm relieved. At least I know what's happened to the mystery of the diesel.
So we filtered a bit of diesel to top up the filters, and also took the opportunity to finish the engine service.
All right, here we go. So the fuel filters are all new, changed. There's definitely a bit of air in the system, but go on, Kel, give it a go. Come on. Okay, wait a sec, wait. Right, we just need to bleed it. You can hear some diesel coming back through. Right, this is exciting. See all that air coming out? Loads and loads of it. That's what it is. That's what's causing our trouble.
Although something still wasn't right. No matter how much we bled the engine, there was still air in the system. We had to keep on cranking the engine to bleed it. But then...
Come on. Oh, shiter. That was something else. Don't know, but something else just made a noise it shouldn't have made.
Dad, there's smoke.
Yeah, I know there's smoke, sweetheart.
Why?
I don't know. Come on. What have I done? So, diagnostics, Cal. We've got like a bit of misty, it wasn't smoke, but it's definitely like a little bit of mist coming out of the air inlet.
Oh my god, that's awful.
And it came out with a pop.
If in doubt, phone a friend. In this case, our friend Matt, who we used to live next to when we lived on our Dutch barge.
If it's come out the air intake, it's a little backfire, I would say.
That sounds encouraging. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense as well. See, this is me just not knowing quite enough. Every time I do something like this, I'm learning more and I'm enjoying it. But it's just like, this is whatever it is, £15,000 engine, and the last thing I want to do is go and blow it up. Yeah. So I'm a bit nervous, but I think all the air's out of the system now, so I'm sort of feeling quite optimistic that if I crank it up again, we might get a eureka type thing going on. Okay, so we're thinking it's just a backfire, and that was probably what the pop was in the smoke.
My assistant is back in the cockpit. Let's see what happens. The engine's running, which is good news, and one of the filters, when I changed it, I hadn't bedded it properly, so there was a slight air leak, which, not air escaping, but air being sucked into the system. Anyway, that appears to all be sorted now, which is good, and the level of the two tanks I'm going to check later, but I'm already guessing they're starting to level out a bit, which is good news. So from now on, we'll just leave both tanks open all the time. The whole thing's so silly, but it has at least forced my hand to get this service done, which I've been talking about doing for about 4 months. Just like, oh yeah, before we go to France, we'll get the service done. And I waited till I got to Spain. But that's all right. So the last job on the list, I've done everything except for oil. So here we go. Finest 1540 mineral oil. That's what's going to go in. This is all stuff you could do at home, folks, on your cars. It's not complex stuff. Yeah. You don't need a philosophy degree to do this.
Have you got a philosophy degree?
No, my brother has.
So we left Mutupu after a few days and had a bit of good fortune. We've been given a good heads up from our friends on 5 Gone Sailing. They've just texted Hugh to say that they're in 30 knots of wind and they're only a couple of miles ahead of us, so it's given us a good heads up. We have reefed to the max and we are anticipating it all to kick off.
It's land breeze again. So about an hour ago we were motoring because we had no wind, and it's been slowly building up to the point where we were getting just enough to sail, and we had I had the whole full genoa out, but the main was still reef 1 where I'd left it. But I'm so glad they messaged us, because I was sitting there going, right, time to shake out the reefs. And I've never ever put the 3rd reef on Esperance apart from to test it. So we are literally, we're sailing with a dinghy sail right now. It's the same size as a sail you get on like a wayfarer.
We are anticipating, anticipatory, and anyway, we're expecting it. And it started to build and build. We did get over 30 knots, but because we had just the right amount of sail out, everything felt really calm down below, and up on deck was pretty comfortable too. It just goes to show you that you can sail in strong winds as long as you're reefed to match the wind. We made it to Bilbao, tied up next to our saviours, and jumped for joy.